Bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oh, yeah. Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Monday, December 12th. 347 days into the new year. Just 19 days left. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? It's Monday. I'm in the chair. Had a great weekend. I hope you did too. Great day today too as well. And tonight we have Alba Weinman with us to discuss why past lives matter. That's the show tonight. Regression. Tomorrow night, the one and only Ralph Ellis is back with us to talk about his book, Mary Magdalene, Princess of Orange, as only Ralph can do it. Wednesday night, Alex Mistretta is going to be here, live in the bunker, to talk about his latest Bigfoot expedition with Steve Murillo and our very own Rick Sinnott. And he's going to be in here on Wednesday night, live in the bunker. Always love it when Alex stops by, and there you go. It's going to be great. I got to hit this river moon. Hold on. Oh, man. Tascam stopped by today, stopped by the bunker, and want to give a shout out to Eric Larson and Jeff Lady coming by to check on things and you know, basically to make sure that the audio here was up to their standards. And we passed the test. But no, I'm just kidding. It was great to see those guys and to come by, and their support and what they do for us here is second to none. And I just want to give a shout out to Eric and Jeff and Jim Mack and everybody over at Tascam and thank them again for all of their support here. Absolutely second to none. One of the great companies out there. And there you go. This audio and how we do it is unique, but it's up to a certain standard here, and we can't do that without companies like Tascam and Mackie, everything that Mackie has done for us, and Studio Dome, of course, as well. So there you go. All right, big shout out to those guys, and it was great seeing them. So there you go. We've got a great week lined up. Thursday night is going to be another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom. Open lines all night long. We are going to open up the phone lines tonight, too, as well, with Alba. And we'll do that in the last segment, so get ready for that. Follow us on Twitter, at JChurchRadio. Facebook, YouTube, everything is Fade to Black. You know what to do. The follow, like, and subscribe buttons are right there at JimmyChurchRadio.com. You can email throughout the show tonight, Jimmy at JimmyChurchRadio.com. As always, just make the email good, so it gets through to me in here. All right? The sandbox is hashtag F2B, already on fire. Thank you. Thank you for the dancers. Thank you. What is that? Who did the, that's Tanner. Tanner did the SpongeBob SquarePants. What was that guy's name on SpongeBob? I can't think of his name. Love SpongeBob. That wasn't for kids, by the way. That was a full-on adult cartoon. Love SpongeBob. All right, let's go. Let's get this show cracking. Happy holidays again to all of you from us here at Fade to Black. And please visit all of our sponsors for great gift-giving ideas. Maybe a Fade to Black t-shirt, too, as well. You can do that. Check out all of our sponsors. Life Change Tea, getthetea.com. Just click on all of our sponsors' banners over at Jimmy Church Radio and use the promo codes for Life Change Tea. Promo code is Jimmy, either over the phone or online. You're going to get free shipping. We just made a fresh batch of tea, by the way. Man, we keep the tea flowing. River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Fade to Black blend, and that is the promo code F2B blend. 15% off of your order from River Moon Coffee. Also, the Studio Dome Fade or Not special, one of the best deals anywhere on the net, which is, and especially for the holidays, right? At 2 SBB2 speakers, stereo, true wireless stereo Bluetooth technology, $129 in a hard shell case. Promo code JCRTWS. Also, Zipa. Stop snoring right now. I did, and I am. Just go to the banner right now on our site. It'll take you straight to Zyppah.com. ZYPPAH. ZYPPAH.com. Zippah. All right. The first conference of the season is the Conscious Life Expo, coming up February 10th through the 13th at the LAX Hilton, right here in Los Angeles. We will be broadcasting Fade to Black from the Plaza Ballroom Friday the 10th. Like every year there, and of course, Contact in the Desert. When we do shows like that, we will have 12, 14 guests over the 3-hour period. We will be doing the same thing this year. Speakers include, now, we'll have David Wilcock, Corey Good, Richard Dolan, Linda Moulton Howe, David Hatcher Childress. We'll probably have Barra. Maybe Nassim Haramein will stop by. Laurie McDonald, of course. Jason Martell, absolutely. Sean Stone, yes. William Henry, Danny Sheehan. Maybe we'll get Whitley Strieber to stop by. Danny and Brinkley. Of course, Laura Eisenhower. Del Bigtree is going to be in the house. So we'll probably get Del to do the show. Lisa Garr, who is also a host over at Coast to Coast. And she is also, she does another radio show here in Los Angeles. So if she's not on the air that night, we'll get her on the show too as well. All right. And all of the tickets and info right now are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Just click on the banner. And we will have, if you can't make the conference, we'll have a live streaming option for you guys from Conscious Life, and we'll get those banners up here shortly too as well, so you can just get the live streaming of the entire event, which also has video, so you'll be able to watch Fade to Black instead of listen to it. You did it last year. Tons and tons of people went in on the streaming, and it was very cool. All right, let's get this show cracking. Today, happy birthday to Jennifer Connelly. Is 46. She did Labyrinth when she was 14. Jennifer Connelly. There you go. I think that was her first movie, too. The first time she ever acted. She's great. Bill Nighy, one of my favorites. Bill Nighy today is 67. Actor Tom Wilkinson today is 68. And Tom, the first time I saw Tom was in the movie Rock and Rolla. Or maybe it was Michael Clayton, one of the two. But he has just turned into one of the great actors out there, and he's awesome. He's 68 today. You can also check him out in 44-Inch Chest, an amazing movie. And also he stars in Snowden, the new Oliver film. There you go. Our dead guy's birthday today is the one and only Frank Sinatra. 1915 to 1998, died at the age of 82. Singer, actor, producer, who's one of the most popular and influential people of the 20th century. No question about that. He's one of the best-selling music artists of all time as well, having sold more than 150 million records. He was honored at the Kennedy Center's honors in 1983, was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Ronald Reagan in 85, and the Congressional Gold Medal in 1997. Sinatra was also the recipient of 11 Grammy Awards, including the Grammy Trustees Award, the Grammy Legend Award, and the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. But we all know he lived it like he wanted to, and it was all good. He was just, Frank. Happy birthday. On this day in history, 1901, Marconi sends the first Atlantic wireless transmission, and in doing so, totally screwing Tesla. Tesla didn't get his patents back till after he died. Fader fact, in 1980, this is a fader fact. Hey, that's Mark Tarana. That's one of the best gifts ever. David Bowie and Labyrinth. One of the best scenes ever. I'm going to tell you guys something about that scene with the 3 crystal balls, right? Okay? That's not David Bowie's hand. That's a guy, a magician, that does that. He's standing down below him. And you can tell, if you notice, look at his hands. It's facing in the wrong direction. You can tell there's a dude off to the right. But anyway, they didn't do any CG. That was the good thing about Labyrinth. But I just retweeted that in case anybody wants to see what I'm talking about. Fader fact, in 1980, America oil tycoon Armand Hammer pays $5,126,000 at auction for a notebook containing the writings of Leonardo da Vinci. And that's $1980. $5 million, man. Worth every penny, actually. Well, it was announced yesterday, Bill Gates and more than a dozen of the world's wealthiest individuals revealed a new $1 billion investment fund. They did this yesterday. Actually, they did it late last night. Didn't really make the news, by the way, and I don't know why. Rita pointed this out to me late last night, and she was like, "This is huge news." What did they do this fund for? They did it to start major advances in clean energy production. It's called Breakthrough Energy Ventures. Now listen to me. The 20-year fund is backed by a mix of technology luminaries and heavyweights from the energy industry, and the goal is to pump money into risky, long-term energy technology that would dramatically reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And this was all in their statement yesterday. The investments will likely go to areas such as electricity generation and storage, agriculture, and transportation. Investors include Jeff Bezos, of course, Amazon, Richard Branson, Virgin, Jack Ma of the Alibaba Group, John Arnold, who's a billionaire natural gas trader, and Prince Al-Wa'id bin Talal, the founder of Kingdom Holding. Now, last year, a number of these investors joined up with Gates in announcing the Breakthrough Energy Coalition. This is before the partners. Yeah, that's right. A group of wealthy investors who pledged to aim a large portion of their own fortunes towards energy technology. The arrival of the fund marks a more concrete step by this group towards their stated goals. Gates spent much of the last year screaming for advances in energy production, and he maintains that things like solar plants, nuclear power, and electric cars will do little to solve global warming in the relatively near term. Now, Gates has said, by the way, and I'm quoting from Bill here, the only way to halt global warming is to find an energy source that produces no greenhouse gases, end quote. He's right. He's partially right. Well, it's part of the problem, but he's right there. And he has personally backed a number of radical energy startups and has encouraged other wealthy individuals to follow suit. Clean energy was a hot niche of venture capital investing several years ago, but many of those investments didn't pan out, and a lot of those VC firms just pulled back or pulled out completely. Now, two venture capitalists who have invested in clean energy startups, John Doerr and Vinod Khosla, are among the backers of the new funds. But then we have this. And that's exciting, and I get it. $1 billion fund, 20 years, and they want to go into risky startups, right? Okay, so if you've got an idea right now, how's the time to pitch? And I don't think $1 billion is enough, and $1 billion with these 20 guys is nothing. What's $1 billion to Bill Gates, right? Seriously, what is $1 billion to Bill Gates? It's nothing. He can't spend it before he dies. He can't. Can't spend it all. Can't give it. You couldn't give it all away if you tried. So I get it. But then we have this. And especially today when Trump is backpedaling. He's going into office. Trump is going into office in January, one way or another. And he's either a denier of global warming, which he has stated publicly. And this isn't about Trump, by the way. It's not. But it is certainly about our future and our kids and our grandkids and the generations in front of us. Something is going on out there. I've stated many times. I don't know if it's us or if it's the sun. Maybe it's just the sun warming things up. I don't know. But we certainly have to do something about it if we can. Right? With this fund in place, it makes things more visible. That's all. It's being talked about. And that's what's most important here. Whether Trump is a denier or not, whoever his cabinet choices are, and ExxonMobil CEOs, all of that, who have been contributing to all of this, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. But if we have a VC fund that is separate from what's going on in D.C. and those deniers, or not, whatever's going on, if we have something separate, we may be okay here. And the most important part of it is that it is being spoken about. But then there is this. There is a plan in place right now to start spraying limestone dust over the South Pole to create a sunshade to fill and repair the ozone hole, all to allegedly slow climate change. Now, according to the scientists, they're calling it what it is, geoengineering. I'm calling it nuts. Listen to this. The idea of geoengineering a solution, to climate change has been discussed for decades. And I get that. We all know what chemtrails are. And now a new study proposes a plan that would cool the planet while repairing the hole in the ozone layer at the same time. I'm just saying this. You can't make this stuff up. Now, the trick is to use calcite particles injected high into the stratosphere to reflect sunlight back into space. All of this according to a study group from Harvard University. It was published today in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. It doesn't get more official than this. we need to do a whole lot more research at some of the possible side effects of putting calcite, limestone dust into the atmosphere. Sometimes, okay, just listen to me. Figuring out the atmospheric chemistry without doing more damage is a bit tricky. It just is. Other researchers have proposed injecting sulfuric acid droplets into the atmosphere to reflect back sunlight, something that happens when volcanoes erupt. And that's their methodology. Volcanoes do it, and we're still here, so it's got to be okay. And when it blankets the earth with sulfuric acid, we make it through the other side. Calcites scatter sunlight with more or less the same way that acid droplets do. And again, this is their methodology. And they also say that it doesn't heat the lower stratosphere as much, and the primary purpose is that they are a base. They are a base and react with strong acids in the stratosphere. Listen to me. When it does this, are you sitting down? It makes salt. Salt, which obviously would rain out. Now, that may reverse the problem of the ozone hole, maybe, just maybe. But what about the effects of salty rain? Salt rain on the Earth's oceans, your backyard, the soil, our crops, how we feed ourselves. I'm not making this stuff up. Remember acid rain? Remember that scare? It would eat the paint off of your car, right? And acid rain pollution. Okay, that was pretty scary. My thing with acid rain, if it could eat the paint off of your car, what's it going to do to your skin, right? Just walking skeletons out there. But salt rain ain't the kind of rain that I like. The thought of it raining outside is supposed to be fresh rainwater. You go out and you put a cup out there and capture it and just drink it. Fresh rainwater. And the plants drink it up, and the next day after a rain, everything is green outside. Everything is back to life, and bugs are flying around, and bees are doing their things, and birds are happy. They're down getting the earthworms out of the ground. You know what happens? That's what rain does. But salt rain? Salt rain. They really think that this is a good idea. If we start to chemtrail Antarctica with limestone dust, which then spreads throughout the stratosphere, around the world, blocking out the sun, right? What's next? Temperatures drop. We get a new ice age in a couple of months. An ice age raining salt, melting the snow, turning it into thick blankets of ice, covering everything. It's like, hey, well, you know what? Check it out, man. We'll get the glacier ice shelves back. That's good, right? I remember in Indianapolis when I was a kid, we were at school, and it rained. It snowed the day before, and then it warmed up a little bit, and then that morning at school, and again, not making this up, and if you were in Indianapolis back in 73, it probably was 73, 74, 73. This was when I broke my leg, actually, because of this rain. It rained, and it downpoured, and it was raining and freezing that morning at school all at the same time. And I remember 8 o'clock in the morning, looked outside, it's raining. By 9 o'clock in the morning, we looked outside, and everything outside had a half inch to an inch of solid ice on it. Not snow, ice. It was everywhere. And they immediately closed down the schools. They shut down Indianapolis, and they sent us home. And we walked home on a skating rink. The sidewalks had an inch of ice. The trees had an inch of ice on every single branch. It was the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life. And that's what would happen. That's what would happen. If it starts raining salt and we drop the temperature because we're blocking out the sun, what's the plan? What's the end game here? I'm not so sure. And they want to do this basically without testing. They just think that spraying, Allison just said, India is famous for its ice storms. Yeah. Now, spraying limestone dust in the air cannot be. It just cannot be. And they want to do it enough to block and fill in the ozone hole. Does this sound like a good idea? Well, it doesn't to me. But like I said, at least we'll get our glacier ice shelves back. Jimmy, salt will melt the ice in the South Pole. That's what I'm saying. How can this be? Thank you for that, Nicole. That's what I'm saying. How can this be a good idea? I'd rather do the sulfuric acid trip. I think that's a little better. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Alba Weinman is here. We're going to do tonight why past lives matter. This is Fade to Black. Tomorrow night, Ralph Ellis is here. His new book, Mary Magdalene, the Princess of Orange. Wednesday night, Alex Mistretta live in the bunker. Thursday night is another Fader night with John Rappaport. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. I'll be right back with Alba Weinman. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. It's a holiday season with hope in the air. Things to look forward to and no time for despair. Health can be a challenge, and so can the mail. So Get the Tea wants to help you by giving you a sale. Buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month for free. No limit. That's buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month free. That's a savings of $35. Where? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Scroll down on the front page and find the buy 2, get 1 free ad. Click it and save. Orders over $100 get free shipping. Send the gift of life. Change tea at GetTheTea.com. We have many, many non-GMO organic supplements just waiting for you. This holiday season, enjoy health and Thanksgiving with GetTheTea.com. Want to call us? 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. GetTheTea.com is a proud sponsor of doing what's right. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Klutsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Past Lives Matter. Gonna get me a t-shirt made. Past Lives Matter. Alba Weinman is a certified clinical transpersonal hypnotherapist. Trained by well-known hypnotherapists Dolores and Aurelio Mejia, Alba calls her own regressive hypnotherapy technique the spiritual journey of forgiveness. She facilitates her sessions in English and Spanish and guides her clients to past lives, connects with their higher self to get those answers to questions, and frees the soul of emotional burdens. She is spiritually awakening others around the globe via YouTube by allowing them to witness some of her hypnosis sessions and see the possibilities of how this technique can help them with all areas of their lives. Tonight, we're going to discuss past life regression, how it is done, and some of her most fascinating clients. And her website is albaweinman.com. That's in English, and she has a Spanish version of her website also over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can just click, and I would like to welcome to Fade to Black for the first time, Alba Weinman. Alba, good evening. Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button. Alba, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, how you doing? Everything good?
I'm doing great.
Okay. The thing is, this is your first time on Fade to Black, so you get the first-time guest disclaimer, which is it's just you and I sitting on my couch talking as friends, and where we start, where we end, but we're going to end as friends. Are you ready to go?
Sounds good. Yep.
All right. Now, I've gone and watched a bunch of your sessions on YouTube, and they're completely fascinating. And long too as well. I mean, they're not short. Completely fascinating, and your technique is unique too as well. But before we jump into that, I've got to ask first: how did you get your start in regression therapy? What happened? Did you have it done to you? Were you looking at this? How did you get your start?
Well, I had regressions when I was much younger, and so I had already been doing this before. My sister actually was taking a course, and she regressed me when I was like in my 20s. I didn't think about it at that time, but I had already had that experience. And how it really happened is that I've been awakening for a long time now, since the late 80s. With automatic writing. And the automatic writing was my connection to my guides. Do you know what automatic writing is? I've talked about it a lot. My mom did it when I was very, very young, and she would do it all night long. I would go to bed, and she would have like a ream of paper, right? Like 500 sheets. And I'd wake up in the morning, and the 500 sheets would be gone. Flipped over, and she would do it all night long. I was fascinated with it, but yes, I do know what it is. So you know that it could be a little addictive too. So I've been doing automatic writing for years and years, and it first started with my father. He came through, and that was mind blowing to me because he had died 9 years before, and he told me all about what it was like to transition over. He told me, what had happened, and it was great talking to him again. So after a while, he told me that it was time that he needed to go to school and take off, and he would let me speak with my guides. And that was unusual because I didn't know that people went to school. So that was strange for me. But it was all learning experience. After that, my guides started giving me information that I didn't know anything about. And that information helped me help other people. And eventually I ended up starting to do life coaching over the phone all over the country. And I wanted to help people the way I was being helped. I was being given information, stuff like just the universal law of attraction type of stuff, the secret type of stuff that has come out. I was being given this like in the late 80s. And I wanted to share that with people. So I started doing life coaching, and that went really well, except I always felt unfulfilled. I felt that I needed to get to the person's soul. Even though they had made some changes, there was still something deeper.
Right.
That I needed to get to. That even though you can change some habits of thinking and everything, there was something deeper. So my guides kept telling me at that time that I would be doing this stuff face to face, and that I would be known all around the world. And this is a long time ago, and I'm like, you guys are crazy. You know, I'm no Tony Robbins. You know, I'm not going to be doing this all over the world. And face to face, no way. You know, I was very timid about doing this stuff. And so they said, no, we're preparing you. We're preparing you for something much, much bigger. This is not what you're going to be doing. So I kind of let it go. I really didn't know what they were talking about. But then circumstances happened in my life which were really shocking. At that time, my son was arrested for something he didn't do. My whole life fell apart. And I became very angry because here I was practicing this law of attraction, and my life was a mess.
Right.
So that went on for about 18 months, that I couldn't believe that our lives had been destroyed this way. And that was when I really started learning about how the media works and how people are manipulated, and just whatever they want you to know and think, that's what they do. So I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about how evil people could be. I never was exposed to anything negative in my life that bad, and I realized how cruel people could be, and cruel for no reason. They didn't even know the truth, but they were just assuming things. So it taught me a lot about people. And I mentioned this because it was really where I had to learn about forgiveness, because while this was happening with my son, I kept complaining, you know, why is this happening? You know, why is this happening? And they said, well, you have to forgive. You have to forgive all these people. And the worst part for me, next to the fact that my son was under house arrest for 18 months, is the fact that they had taken all of my journals and automatic writing as evidence.
What? Why would they do that?
Well, I don't know, but they did. And so
did they? What did they actually read it?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
Man, that's an invasion.
They were going to use my journals as evidence against him. They had found some information there, a question about what had been happening, and they were going to use that. So the problem is that I didn't know what was in those journals, because when I do automatic writing,
exactly,
I usually do it before I go to sleep.
Right.
I stick it in my drawer, and I never read it again.
Exactly.
So I was terrified about what was in those journals, because
I
hadn't read them.
Oh, no.
So here I was. I wanted to just fall on a sword and kill myself, because this was like the worst violation you can do to a person, is to read their private thoughts. And I kept doing automatic writing during this whole time, and they kept saying, don't worry about this. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. These messages are not for you. They're for the world. And I was angry. It was like, no, you know, this is about my life. It's not about your life, you know, anybody else's life. And that's very private. And I've got stuff in there about my boyfriend, and,
right?
Things that I do. And they said, your sex life is not very exciting. It's nothing they haven't ever read before. What's really significant is the fact that these writings are meaning something to them. They're affecting their soul. So my ex-husband ended up buying a copy of the automatic writing from them because they had been made public record at this time. And so everybody had a copy of them, every attorney that was working on the case. And when I started reading them, it was like, oh, these are really not bad. They're very, very beautiful, what they say. And I guess, it's not that bad, but I was still feeling very violated. So that was my first experience at allowing the world to see what I did. That was very significant because before then I was a very, very private person and I didn't want anybody in my business.
Well, I want to go back. We're going to pick up right here in just a second, but I want to go back to your father. That's a couple of interesting comments that you made. And was your father or your mother, were they spiritual or they, connected growing up? Did they have an open mind to this?
My father didn't really. He was a Freemason and kept that to himself. So I really don't know we didn't know anything about his life as a Freemason. And my mother was very spiritual. She was. And, we weren't, we didn't grow up very religious. They tried to get me to go to church when I was little, and we were Catholic. And they tried to get me to do my first Holy Communion, and I did. But right after that, I told them, that's the last time I go to church. You're not doing this to me anymore. Okay. So I was very, very much against religion, organized religion. But I always felt that I had a connection to God. I told people, what do I need the church for? I can connect myself. It's like a phone call. I can just talk to God. There's no reason for me to have the middleman. And my mother always said, her religion was love. You just love everybody. That's her religion. And she was very, very spiritual in that way. And so I was never really forced to follow any religion. The only thing that is significant that happened in my life, which I think may have affected me in this life, is that my grandmother had died when I was 6. And a few years later, my mother had felt some discomfort. And we really didn't know as kids, what she was talking about. But my father's friend's wife was a medium. And I know that they had them over for, at that time you call it a seance, in order to help my grandmother go to the light. And this was not spoken about, casually. I found out about this much, much later, but I knew that something had happened, and it wasn't spoken about. But that was my upbringing. It was not very religious at all. My father was pretty much into his own thing, and my mother was all about love.
And
that was really it.
Well, and so when you were talking to your father and communicating with him during the automatic writing sessions,
yes,
what did he have to say about his own spirituality at that point?
Well, I didn't really ask him about that. I mean, I talk to him like I talk to my clients during a session. It's like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? What clothes are you wearing?
Well, because he, Alba, you're drifting away from the microphone. Stay right on it for me. Okay. But his comment about he had to go back to school. Yes. I know you asked him about that. What was going on there?
Well, we had talked for a few months. Just on and off about my life. I really just asked about, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? He actually helped me find my house, telling me where my new house would be and kind of guiding me to the neighborhood. we had fun times talking with him. There was one time where my sister is very intuitive too, and we wanted to play a game and find my grandmother's grave one day. And she says, well, I'll connect with grandma and you connect with dad, and let's see if we can find the grave without knowing where it is.
Right.
So she was using her mind, connecting with my grandmother, and I was using my automatic writing, and we both got to the grave almost at the same exact time. So it was pretty cool. So that's the kind of stuff we were doing with my dad. It was just fun stuff. He was a fun guy, and we just were playing. But it got to the point where he got serious and he said, no, this is like enough and I have to go back to school now.
It's such an interesting comment, So did he take it further? What did he mean by that? I mean, was it a spiritual going to school, or was he like going somewhere with books?
No, it's a spiritual school. It's where they learn. And I've had that in many of my sessions where they're in school. I had it today, in fact, in a session that I had where someone was telling their mother that they were in school. It's a spiritual school where you learn and you get ready for what you're going to be doing in this life, in the next one.
So how did you meet Dolores Cannon? How did that happen?
Okay. So I told you that I had been very angry about what had happened with my son. So I started taking all sorts of kickboxing and boot camp just to get the anger out, because I knew that I had already done my forgiveness work, but I needed to get it out of my system. I did that for a long time until finally I started getting injured, and I've never been injured before. I would sprain my wrist, my toe broke, I got tendonitis. I was a mess. And I figured they were going to kill me because, I wasn't getting the message. And one night I was just there convalescing with all the ice packs on me from all of these injuries that I'd had from kickboxing. And I came across Dolores Cannon, like most people do, YouTube video. And as soon as I saw her video, it was like, oh my God, this is what you guys were telling me. You almost killed me, but this is what you wanted to show me. And as soon as I saw her videos, I said, that's what I was looking for. That's how I can get to people's soul. And as soon as I did all the prerequisites that you need to do for her class. I read her books. I bought all the things, and I took her class online, and I was ready to go by the time I had finished her class. I already had my website done by the time I finished my class. I was multitasking, and I took off, and I've been doing that for 3 years now. So, it was a beautiful thing. And within 6 months, I took the level 2 class, and that's when things in my life started happening. I started meeting people. I met 2 beautiful colleagues, which I worked with closely, Antonio Sanjo, who's in North Carolina, and Genoveva Calleja, who's in Switzerland now. And the 3 of us were like the 3 musketeers. We started learning more and more and more about hypnosis. We were kind of mentoring each other and learning from each other. And that's when it all took off. Once we started kind of being inquisitive and learning all we can to help our clients.
For the audience that may not know, who was Dolores Cannon?
Oh, she was an amazing woman. She was actually her husband was a hypnotherapist. That's how it started. And then he got into an accident, and she started doing hypnotherapy. And during the time with her husband, that's when they first discovered about past lives, and they started doing past life regressions. And she just was an amazing woman. She did these past life regressions and she's written 19 books about all of her sessions. She taught practitioners all over the world how to do this technique. And she transitioned. She passed away in 2014. But her influence has been amazing on this planet. It has just changed people. The healings that she witnessed was amazing every day.
She developed the quantum healing hypnosis technique, or
Yes.
QHHT. What is that exactly? Because it is unique.
Yes. The quantum healing hypnosis technique is a very simple technique. It's really meant for people who are not hypnotherapists. She wanted to be able to teach lay people how to do hypnosis and do a good regression. And she has a recipe which is perfect. I like to equate it to like baking a cake. She gave you the perfect recipe that you would be able to regress somebody. There is an induction. An induction is where there's a visualization. Before the induction, there's a pre-talk. You sit down with the client, you talk about their lives, you find out who's in their lives, who would be significant. You find out what they're going to, we set the intention, and the client brings their questions that they want to ask during the session. So after you speak to the client, there's the induction, which is a visualization that she uses, very, very peaceful. I love it because it puts me in trance. And then what we have is that they go to wherever it is that they're meant to go. The hypnotist does not guide them at all. They go where they need to go. So it could be a past life. It could be a present life. It could be anywhere. It could be in space. It doesn't matter. They are guided to where they go. The technique is you take them to a few scenes of their lives so that you can get a story. Basically, it's the story of their life. We want to find out what went on in that life. We take them to the last day of their life. We transition them over. We ask them what was the purpose and what was the lesson of their life. And then sometimes they go to life between lives, or we take them to another life. It all depends on how the session is going. So sometimes it's only one past life if it's very, very long. It could be up to 3. After that, we ask for permission to speak with the higher self, and the higher self is the part of the person that's not in this body. I like to think of us like avatars. And, we have this body that we're walking around in, but there is another part that is really guiding us that's not in our body. It's the part that's connected to all that is, to Creator, to Source. And that's the part that knows everything about you. And that's the part that's connected to every single life that you've ever lived. It's all one. So the higher self knows everything about you. So when we connect with the higher self, that's when we could ask the questions. Why did you show, Jimmy this life? Well, because, he has to know that this is why this is going on now, or whatever. So we ask the questions, and then we go ahead and ask for permission to ask the questions that they brought, and you get really interesting answers. And at the end, we ask to do a body scan, and the higher self will tell us what's going on in the body, if there's anything that needs adjustment, and they do the adjusting. That's the QHHT method.
When somebody comes to you, are they coming to you because they have, in a general sense, are they coming to you because they think that they have issues, or they do have issues, or are they generally coming to you because they've heard of regression and maybe they're fascinated with it and they just want to check it out? What's really going on there?
All of the above, but the main question that everybody has as the first question is, what is my purpose in life? Why am I here?
They don't want to know if they were King Arthur, right? I'm sure there's some
curiosity,
of that.
But
right.
Everybody has that burning question in their mind as to why am I here?
Right.
Why was I born? Why am I living this life? What am I supposed to do? It's like you've been given a mission and you have it in your heart right now that you have to do something. There's something that you have to do. It's like those people who forget something in their house, and it's like, I know I forgot something in my house. I just can't remember what it is.
Right.
it's like everybody is waking up to this question. What am I supposed to be doing here? And it's a burning question. It's really bugs people.
Yeah, certainly. And is there progress with just one session, or does that open up the door and then a second or third session, and then you start to get to the heart of the matter?
No, in the QHHT world, you really only have one session, and you deal with the issues that are going on, with the person. You may have somebody come back a year from now because they have different questions, but it's not supposed to be something that is like a hypnotherapy session, a protocol where if you go to a hypnotherapist, they sign you up for 5 sessions and say, okay, you got to come back this session, we'll do this, another. No, in QHHT, it's like, you come here once, we don't want to see you again. It's between you and God.
Well, I would think, I'm surprised with that answer, because if somebody really enjoyed it, right? Wow, that was great. I got to do this again. Can I come back next week? It doesn't. Are you saying that it doesn't happen that way?
Not really. You have QHHT junkies that do like to come back. That hey, I want to see what's next, but we don't encourage that. That for them to come back constantly, because once you connect with your higher self, the idea is that is your guide. You should be asking your higher self what to do.
Right.
It's empowering people. It's not making them rely on you. Once a person has connected with their higher self, it understands what the higher self sounds like and feels like, you should be able to fly on your own now,
And we're going to hit a break here in 60 seconds. When somebody goes through a session, do they remember it, or do they go back and watch the video?
It depends on the person. Some people go into what we call the somnambulistic state, where they don't remember anything. They wake up and they say, I have no idea what happened. Most of my people remember everything when they wake up. But what happens is, just like when you wake up from a dream, as you begin to talk and get further away from it, you start to forget different parts of it. It starts to kind of fade.
Yeah, that's why I won't do regression therapy right there.
Well, the thing is that we record, in QHHT, we record every session.
Right.
And part of the therapy is for you to listen to the session over and over and over again.
Right.
We ask you to listen to the recording, because whatever healing has occurred from your higher self is imprinted in that recording.
That's right.
So the more you listen to it, you feel the vibration of it and you get the healing again. So for us, it's like, you will remember everything that happened, because you're going to hear it over and over again, because that's what we tell you to do. Some people don't, but that's none of our business, what they do. But we encourage them to do this, and to do this because it really helps. Because the answers are there, and if you forget, maybe 2 months from now, if you hear the recording, you'll be reminded again.
There you go. Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, Alba Weinman. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, we're doing it. Past lives matter. It's exactly what we're doing tonight. Alba Weinman, regression therapy, hypnotherapy, introspective hypnotherapy. We're going to do it all. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I'll be right back. More with Alba right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
How you doing? It's Jimmy here from Zipa. Today I wanted to tell you about my efforts to achieve global elimination of snoring. It all starts with respect. Respect for yourself and respect for others. Listen, you think you're being a nice guy or a nice girl by letting the guy or girl next to you sleep and snore every night. It's the ultimate disrespect to have that happen. You wake that person up and you tell them, go to Zipa.com now. ZYPPAH.com. We're not going to tolerate this, all right? Snoring is not okay. Someone next to you is snoring, you tell them to buy a Zipa. ZYPPAH.com. I know that you're listening to these snoring things and you're thinking, well, it don't apply to me. I don't have these problems. A lot of people are in denial, but it's true. Listen, if you're snoring, you got to stop it. What you got to do is get this fixed. Get a Zipa and change your life. ZYPPAH.com.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Past Lives Matter. You're going to get a t-shirt. Alba, do you have a Past Lives Matter t-shirt?
Sounds great.
It does, doesn't it?
I love it.
Wear that out in public. I just got this question in from Twitter, and it's, Jimmy, please ask Alba, do past lives follow a sequential linear progression where life A affects B, then C, or does C also affect A or B?
I think they're all happening at the same time. That's one of those weird things that people have a hard time wrapping their mind around, that all time is in the now. And I think every life affects every other life. I don't think it's sequential. I think that, and this is just my belief, I really can't prove it, but every life is affecting it. When I go back into a different life, we're having simultaneous lives. I've had people who are living now and in another time just 20 years before as a different person. So it's very convoluted.
What is the subconscious?
Well, there's the hypnotherapy term, which is the part of you that's kind of like on autopilot. It's the part that's constantly, it's almost like the hard drive of the computer. It's always working. It's capturing everything that's happening. This is like the true subconscious, okay? It's capturing everything. So, for example, if you lose your keys, the subconscious knows exactly where they are because it's always capturing everything that's going on. Okay?
Okay. Well, how do you?
But I don't. That's not what we're looking for in this session. We're really talking with what we would call the oversoul. which we consider the higher self. This is the part, we're talking about the soul part of you, the part of you that is really the divine part of you.
So you don't
Dolores called it the subconscious.
Right. So you're not actually going after the subconscious.
No. We're going for the divine part.
And with Dolores, she would, I'm not 100% expert on this. I've done a lot of studying. But was she the one that would start with your very first memory that you actually could remember and then move forward?
No, that's not the way she did it.
Okay, how did she do it?
Just like I told you before. You have an induction that takes you wherever it is that you need to go.
Right. And so take me through a typical session when you first start. Are you, where I understand that they are giving you a direction to go in, but for you, what do you do first?
What do I do?
Yes.
Well, I don't do QHHT the way Dolores did it anymore. My technique is really different now. So my technique, the way I told you how Dolores did it,
right,
is no longer how I do it, because I've created my own technique. So if somebody is coming to me, we talk a little bit, we go over the questions, pretty much like Dolores did, but not as much time. I will do some hypnotherapy tests on them when they come.
Right.
Just to, this is how I do it. I actually put them and myself into a meditation, breathing exercises, a visualization, because I put myself into a trance too. And so I always tell my clients, you're going to be hearing a totally different voice when we're in this, because we're both going into hypnosis together. And so I do a very, very nice meditation just to relax the body, really a relaxation exercise. Then I take them to a visualization, and that takes them to wherever it is that they're going to go. And by that time, we're both in a trance.
Right.
So that's where you hear my voice sounds like I'm drunk or something.
I know.
When I first start, because I'm so relaxed myself. I could hardly talk. So that's how I do it.
And to do this, I'm assuming that all of your sessions are in person. In other words, You're not doing anything remotely, right? By phone or Skype, or do you do that too as well?
No. Dolores Cannon pretty much forbid anybody to do it over Skype. That was her idea. And I'll tell you a little story about that, because that really affected me. I was really having really great sessions, and I said, I really would like to be able to spread myself to anybody in the world and do this. And I was just ready. And at that time, Dolores was really, really guiding me in every session. I could hear her voice. She was reprimanding me. She was scolding me sometimes. She was, patting me on the back. She was really being a great mentor to me. And I got it in my head that I was going to start doing this over Skype. And at that time, I was in my hypnotherapy school. I was taking my course with the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy here in Florida. And we were doing, at that time, past life regressions. And so that was the same week that I decided I was going to start launching my sessions over Skype. And remember that I told you at the beginning that my guides told me that I would be doing this in person. And that kind of like that was put on the shelf for me, but I didn't remember. When I went to my hypnotherapy class to do a past life regression, what happened to me was so violent in a way that I realized that I could never do this over Skype, because I was getting a message. What happened to me is that I had a past life regression in that class, in which I saw myself as a priestess on top of like this pyramid, with a beautiful, beautiful, I don't know if it was a veil or something behind me. and the monkeys were chattering at me from the trees, and I knew that I could connect with them telepathically. And I was just on this, in this visualization while my therapist was still doing the induction. She was still not even halfway through it when I was already in that past life. And all of a sudden, I feel something on my throat and I start coughing violently. And I threw myself off the recliner onto the floor, flailing and screaming at the top of my lungs. And what had happened was that they had beheaded me.
Wow.
But nobody in the room knew what was happening because nobody had said a word yet. I hadn't said anything as to where I was. So it took them about 20 minutes of walking me around outside and barefooted in the sun to get me back from that world, because I didn't want to come back. I was between two worlds, and I liked it there. And so after that, they put me back into regression again, and I found out that I was not from this world. I was a little blue girl with a big head who had been initiated in that place as a priestess. And I was there teaching telepathy to the people of the village, and that reptilians had come, attacked the village, and they wanted my soul. So they beheaded me. So after that session...
Well, hold on for a second. Let's stay right here. When you said that you were on top of a pyramid,
yes,
and blue and beheaded, it almost sounds Mayan, or...
Yes, it does. Yes, it did. Yeah, it was. It was. That's how it felt. But the reason that session was so important to me was because I knew Dolores was behind it. She had given me an experience to make me understand why it was important for me to be with my clients.
Right.
Because if something happens over Skype, you're not there.
You're not there to control it, and that's very that's very scary. I mean, if you think about it, you're responsible, right?
You're right, exactly. And some people do Skype only, and that's okay because that's their intention. Okay?
Right.
When you set an intention as a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist, that intention is the type of clients you get. So if they're doing this over Skype, it's because they've been given an okay from their guides. But in my case, I had already been told I have to do this in person. And I have to touch the client. To me, I can't not touch the client. And that's something that's not in QHHT. You're not allowed to touch the client in QHHT. But for me, I have to touch the client. I have to do the forgiveness work. I have to feel the energy going in and out of them. So I was given pretty much an example of what could happen. And it was a great thing for me to learn, because I understand that my sessions could be pretty crazy, because that's my intention, is to bring in cases that I can touch, I can be there with them. I can give them that love. And so it was a great experience for me.
I just tripped right as you were describing the alien side. Next to me, here in the bunker. The bunker's dark, right? And next to me, I have against the wall, I have about a 3-foot tall, solid metal alien guy. We call him Paul. And so anyway, I know he's there. But I'm sitting here listening to you, and just for a second, right, I just jumped. And I looked, and that was the silent. I just looked at him and went, dude, you've never done that to me before. What are you doing right now? And wow, that was kind of weird. Okay, I got to get back to myself. So now I want to, there's also a few other things that are involved with your, I guess the word I want to use is style, the way that you go about it. And it's Aurelio Mejia.
Yes.
I want to talk about him for a second. Who is he?
Well, he's a hypnotherapist from Medellin, Colombia. He has over 2,000 YouTube videos. He posts like almost every one of his sessions because people know when they go to him that that's what happens. His style is clinical hypnosis, regression also. He has a totally different style. And when I was telling you that we had the Three Musketeers that were searching for information, Antonio was the one who actually hooked me up to these videos, and we started watching his method. And one of the funny things about life is that the moment you know how to do something or you start learning something, the universe gives you someone to practice it on. And so once I started practicing, I started watching Aurelio Mejia's work. He had a lot to do with the forgiveness work. Forgiveness was very important in his sessions, about forgiving yourself, forgiving others, because forgiveness is really the key to everything in life. And so all of a sudden I get this client, Spanish speaking, who came to me and he said, I know that I have done a lot of damage in a lot of lives. I've killed a lot of people. I've hurt a lot of people, and I want to be forgiven. And I want to have a session where I can forgive. And this was my first time that I kind of got away from QHHT because we did something different, and I tried Aurelio's method. And I felt really, really terribly guilty about it because I wanted to be, I was a diehard Dolores fan and I wanted to do her technique exactly as I was taught. But here I was faced with a different opportunity. And this man had 7 different past lives. And in each one of them, he had done something. The first one being that he was the one who killed Cleopatra. It was very, it was like a sinister guy who was told by the king to kill her in a way that no one knew. And he was telling me where he had hidden the snakes so that no one could find them. And she actually woke up after he placed the snakes on her bed and they bit her. So he needed to be, he asked for forgiveness of her at that time. And this is the first time I had a dialogue with someone other than a person in front of me, that I was having a dialogue with another person from his past life. And from there, it really started getting one after another. All these clients started coming with these issues that all of a sudden it was forgiveness work. All forgiveness work. Everybody had attachments, which this is another thing that is never covered by Dolores. Everybody had an entity attached to them somehow. And that's when because Aurelio dealt with them, I started removing and sending them to the light.
This client with Cleopatra,
Mm-hmm,
was it with him? Was he dealing with, like an anxiety or a frustration because he had this attached to him? And was it guilt? I mean,
guilt that he had done this. Guilt. He died with the guilt that he had killed a woman. First, he kept saying, "I don't like to kill. I'm a soldier. but I don't like to kill women." And he was given those orders to kill her. And so he had this guilt that he had been holding. And through the 7 past lives, whatever he had done, he felt guilty about. And he had to be relieved of this.
He was a soldier today? Mm-hmm. That was his occupation?
No, he was a soldier there.
I see.
He worked in the palace for the king, and the king told him, do it.
And how was he after the session?
Oh, yeah, he was really happy. I mean, this is a great relief. Once you go through these forgiveness exercises, you feel so much lighter.
Casper Parks, he's an author. He just tweeted. He said, "What is right after you said that?" Right? He says, "What is the longest past life that you have dealt with? 6,000 years, 10,000 years, longer?"
Well, we go through past lives where there is no Earth, where they're in space, where the planets are being created. I mean, they're watching this. People are just consciousness.
What about?
It's not just planet Earth.
Sure. And when one hears, and including myself in the audience, when they hear this, we know that regression therapy has gotten a bad rap over the years. How do you deal with that, and how much of this do you think may be, fantasy or what somebody wants to think about themselves as opposed to being reality?
Well, a lot of people have the wrong impression of past life regression. They really do. They think that, you're Napoleon, you're Cleopatra. That's not the case.
Right.
Dolores used to call them digging potato lives. A lot of people have very boring lives.
That would be me.
Okay. So
Right.
if you were to have a past life regression in the future, you would say, well, there's not much interesting here. Okay. And a lot of our past life regressions are like that, but there's always something significant about those lives that you're being shown. It could be the fact that, for example, I had a woman come to me once who had a very hectic life, drama like you couldn't believe. And she was shown the most boring life you can imagine. She was a Native American male. Nothing to do. He basically played with beads, did bead work or something. Very, very boring life. The most exciting day of his life would be looking at a sunset. And really, there was nothing going on. At the end, another tribe came in and killed him, and that was it. So the higher self was basically showing her, listen, you had a very, very boring life. You were asking for more action. You wanted more action in your life.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I'm
be
totally,
careful what you ask for.
Well, I know that everybody does want to be Napoleon, right? I get that. I do. And we've seen the movies and we fantasize about it. And we want to be that. I've always said, if I regressed, I would just be some dude, covered in mud, begging for change in downtown Rome. That would be me. And
maybe or maybe not, because a lot of people also have the same type of jobs and the same type of responsibilities from one life to another because you didn't get it right. So you may have been someone who was a communicator in a different life, in a different way.
So would you describe, is that introspective hypnotherapy?
I don't know what you call it. I really don't. I mean, it's really answering, I guess it is.
Right.
It's answering your question as to why.
Right. And what is the Ericksonian method?
Ericksonian is storytelling, and Aurelio Mejia does that. You have a conversation about something, which kind of makes you think a different way. And Aurelio Mejia is wonderful at it. He does more clinical work like smoking, weight loss, and things like that. And he uses storytelling to make a point. And some of these stories can be really like disgusting when he does it, and it really hits home.
I'm trying to understand here. What do you mean by storytelling? Let me give you an
example.
Yes.
Let's say that you're angry at somebody. You're angry at someone for doing you wrong. So he tells a story that one day his dad came home drunk, and the cat was behind the door. And so when he opened the door, he stepped on the cat, and the cat meowed, and so it woke you up, and you threw a book at the cat because the cat had woken you up. So these stories are just for you to think about behavior, because it wasn't the cat's fault that you were woken up. It was the father who stepped on the cat who woke you up. So sometimes you shouldn't take it out on people. Okay?
Yes.
I'm just giving you a silly story, but
right.
It's the stories that you make in order for people to think.
Okay. How can we influence our past lives? I mean, if we can, or the future influence ourselves today? I mean, how can we use that to influence ourselves now? And can we change those?
I go to a past life and I treat them exactly as if I were treating a client. That's my method. When I go to a past life and I find that there is something going on with them, I do hypnotherapy on them. I do past life regressions on my past life regressions. It gets that convoluted. So for example, let's say that you go back to a past life and we find out that you're angry at someone, they betrayed you. So, I'll ask that personality from that life to now go into a past life and see if that person, if you betrayed them in that life. So we can go back and just do past lives on past life personalities.
That's interesting.
It gets really kind of confusing sometimes, but once you find out what the issue is, you do the forgiveness work on the past life of the past life personality and all the way down. And to me, it heals everybody.
Right.
Because I consider everybody conscious and alive in the moment of now. So if you change one thing, it's going to change something else.
Right.
I can't prove that to you, but that's what I'm being guided to do. And I have to go with whatever my guidance tells me.
When we come back, we're going to take a break right here. But when we come back, we're going to talk about trapped entities. We've got to do that. We've got to jump into the laws of attraction. I want to get into healing. And we got to talk about Atlantis, right? I just know we'll be able to go there. Our guest tonight, Alba Weinman. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, we are doing it. Past Lives Matter. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Alba right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
You get a Zeepa. You get a Zeepa, you hear me?
What's the name when you snore? It's Zeepa, Zeepa. It's the thing we're craving for. It's Zeepa, Zeepa. You can't sleep all night. Zeepa, Zeepa. And wake up feeling right. It's Zeepa, Zeepa. Makes me love my husband more, 'cause he no longer snores. Zeepa, Zeepa. It's Zeepa, Zeepa.
Zeepa's different than any other device because it actually works. A lot of these other devices, they just bring the jaw forward. That's it. However, the thing that makes Zeepa different, it stabilizes the tongue, basically, with this elastic band. But right here, Jimmy's telling you that this is a unique device. Go to Zeepa now, buy it, and stop the snoring. Get a Zeepa, ZYPPAH.com. Zeepa.com. That's ZYPPAH.com.
Oh, fall. My favorite time of year. Cooler temperatures and, well, let's be honest, layers. Lots and lots of layers. Look, I get it. We all have that favorite hoodie. Matter of fact, I've got a few favorite hoodies. You should wear yours. Enjoy it. I do. But I stay focused on my health year-round. And for me, I take Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. I eat right, control my portion sizes, still maintain a commitment to regular fitness, and I get plenty of rest, and I take Nature's Youth RSF. It's okay to cover up your beach body for a few months, but don't just forget about it. Nature's Youth understands exactly what it means to provide top-quality health products, and Nature's Youth customers not only improve their health, they know they're also providing their body with the right nourishment to maintain peak performance levels and fight the aging process. So layer up and get started today with Nature's Youth RSF. naturesyouth.com. Simple to use, even simpler to order. Go to naturesyouth.com. That's naturesyouth.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Alba Weinman. She is a certified clinical and transpersonal hypnotherapist, and we're discussing why past lives matter. This is Fade to Black. Now, Alba, I do want to talk about Atlanteans, but I've got a bunch of questions that have popped in during the break, and one of them I find interesting is are our family members that are in this life in our past lives, you know, such as your mom, your dad, your brother, sister, etc. Are they, or is it only in this life?
A lot of times they are. We travel in soul groups, so there are things that you need to learn together, and sometimes your brother and sister, sometimes your cousins, mother, father. You change roles. And the interesting thing is that they look the same. Their eyes look the same. So when you see them in that past life, you recognize them.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So there's, okay, are they, they're there, but are they in the same, what's the word that I want to use? Are they members of your family, or are they just somebody that is present?
It could be either. Sometimes it's a husband, which wasn't your husband at one time, so it wasn't your family. At other times it's a mother. Right. Sometimes it's the same family member over and over again. Right. Or they switch. Sometimes mother, daughter, son. It switches. And then there are other times where these family members are brand new. You don't know any of them. You just landed in this family, and you just need to learn from them, but you're really not part of them.
Are you teaching now? Are you mentoring anybody? Are you teaching anybody your technique?
No. Right now, I'm just doing I'm busy with my own. In the future, maybe I'll do that, but right now, no. I always tell people if they're looking to do. To learn hypnosis, just to learn hypnosis, I always tell them to go to the Dolores Cannon QHHT school, because they teach a really good past life regression.
Right. Atlanteans. Mm-hmm. How often does this come up during a session?
Sometimes, not all the time. I've had a few that were from Atlantis. Some of them. One of my sessions that I remember the most from Atlantis is that they were preparing for the end, and they were actually putting knowledge into crystals. The crystals were being used like computers, information. Right. So they were putting their knowledge into the crystals because they knew what was going to happen.
Right. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Trapped entities. Mm-hmm. I mean, this comes up a lot. Well, first off, I want to start with your definition. What is a trapped entity?
Well, I look at it as a soul, a person who has not, well, that's just one. The most common that I find are souls that should have transitioned to the light, should have gone back to home, to source, and but they, for some reason, either they had guilt or they died suddenly and didn't know where to go, or felt angry because they died suddenly and they wanted to continue living. They were alcoholics, wanted to have another drink, or drug addicts who wanted another fix. And they decided to find a host so that they can live their life out in their body.
Right. Alba, listen, I'm going to reset to the phone line. We're just having problems with the microphone here.
Okay.
And so I'm going to take a break right here, and let's reset to the phone lines, and it'll be simple. I'd rather do this than continue because we have too much more to discuss. Okay. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Alba right after this. We're going to reset the audio. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have sciatica, then you know all about the crippling pain that travels from your lower back down your leg when a spasm occurs. It's brutal. In fact, it's enough to take your breath away. Dr. Zhang's Sciatica Nerve Cream helps relieve persistent, shooting pains associated with the sciatic nerve in the lower back and legs. This natural, homeopathic cream contains the most potent ingredients to soothe even the most excruciating pain associated with sciatica. Stop the pain now. Ask for Dr. Zhang's Sciatica Nerve Cream at your local health food store or go online to trasknutrition.com.
Would you like relief from muscle pain, headaches, and discomfort to sleep better, have more energy during the day, and just feel naturally amazing? Fibromalic can help. Its blend of malic acid and magnesium can provide pain relief and comfort for those who experience fibromyalgia. It helps your body absorb more oxygen, and it works quickly for a significant reduction in pain within 48 hours, all without a prescription. Ask for Fibromalic at health and vitamin shops or shop fibromalic.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Alba Weinman. Her website is albaweinman.com. She also has a Spanish version, too, as well. And if you just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click both links are right there. I think we've got the audio fixed. Alba, when it comes to Atlantis, did you find out about any knowledge of Atlantis, like where the crystals are or any technical things about Atlantis? Has any of the sessions revealed anything for you?
Not too much. The only one that stood out was that same guy that had the Cleopatra past life.
Right.
Was that he was Atlantean and that he was born in Cuba because that was part of Atlantis. And he felt closer to it.
Oh, that's interesting. Man, I wish I would have been there for that. I would have tranced out with you and started.
And that's where I'm from, so I guess I have some of that too, maybe.
You're from Cuba?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay. Do you know what the body code is?
No.
Okay. Marie just said that her aunt just released 3 evil spirits from her from 20 years ago, and how does she keep them away?
Well, you have to keep your vibration high. That's for sure. They're like parasites. They're attracted to you when your vibration is low. It's like your spiritual immune system is low.
Right.
If people who are always finding ways of checking out, alcohol is a really easy way of checking out and allowing these entities to come in. Drugs, anything altered state like that where you're not totally there. Even pornography would attract these.
Right.
Anything that you are not being you're not functioning in a very spiritual way would attract these beings. And most people have these attachments to them. They.
Is it a sign?
I find them a lot.
Right. Is it that shows a sign of weakness and maybe a chink in the armor?
Not really. I mean, you just have to keep yourself in a high vibration, in a loving. The whole thing about human beings is we really need to be of service to others. We need to be kind. We need to be loving. That's how we should be. This is our nature. This is how babies are born. This is how we really should function. And once you're not in that mode, you're attracting these entities that are not very nice, and they just want to feed off of you.
And what's the process there? I mean, you don't just find the entity and go away, and he leaves, right?
No. This is not an exorcism.
Right.
In my case, I treat these entities like as if they were people in my own home. There's always a reason why they're attached, and they're usually either very angry. They were sent there by somebody. It could have been somebody sent them. Or they could be lost. So if it's a bully type of entity, it's because they were bullied or they were hurt. So, of course, they want to take it out on somebody else. They're so angry that they want to harm somebody else. So what I do is I try to find out as quickly as possible how did they get into this person? What was the vulnerability that allowed this entity to attach to them? I find out what was the circumstances under their death. It could be a car accident. Somebody could have killed them. They could have fallen off a cliff. It doesn't matter. But we find out how they died. Then I find out a little bit about their story. Why are you there? What happened to you? How did you feel when you died? What was going on? And why are you with this person? What have you caused them? And we go through all the symptoms. Oh, depression. Oh, anxiety. I pushed people away from them. They give up all the goods. They tell me, what they're doing to this person. So then I ask them, are you ready to release this? Are you ready to go home? No, I don't want to. I like it here. So that's when I call in my team of archangels, and I call in my angels of the light, which is what I use. And I have them experience their love, experience what it would be like to go back home. And usually at that time, they feel good. Otherwise, I would also ask them if they're really, really dark entities, really nasty or nastier. I have them look inside of them and tell them there's a spark of light inside of you. That's where we were created. We were created from the light. Whether you're dark or light, we all came from the same source. Look inside of you, expand that, feel that love from the Creator. And once they do, they realize, oh, yeah, I'm not really that bad after all. I remember who I am. So that's when I ask for them to, I ask for the person to forgive them and for them to forgive themselves for doing this. I ask them to remove all of the influence that they have on that person, and I send them off.
Are there some
It's a very loving technique. I do everything with lots of love and patience, like you would with a hurt child.
Sure. Is there ever the situation where they don't want to leave, they don't want to split?
Yeah. That's when I call in the big guns. I ask all of my team to just encapsulate them and take them. It's like, get them. They're misbehaving, and please take care of them. Please take them to the light on your own. And yeah, we've had some of those. I set my intention. I really would prefer not to deal with those. I try to set the intention of my sessions to be as loving as possible. There's other practitioners or other hypnotherapists that deal with those that are, nastier.
Are some entities there just to have fun?
Yeah. They just like people.
Right.
I mean, and you're an entity. You just have a body.
Right.
So whatever happens in a body happens there. I mean, there are entities that are there to have sex with the person. They're just there to take advantage of them.
Right.
How you have those?
I was just going to say, does a client know if they have an entity and beforehand?
No.
They don't.
No, not usually. They may come to me and say, "Oh, they told me I'm bipolar. One moment I'm one way, I'm another way. I'm very depressed. I feel very suicidal." They have all of these symptoms, and we find out that one of the entities committed suicide. Things like that. That they're the ones that are depressed.
I wanted to ask you. Somebody just tweeted. She calls in her spiritual bouncers.
That's right.
Well, that's basically it, isn't it?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, when you are doing something that is either, before Earth or off planet, and you're there, right? You're in the trance state. Do you get transported too? Do you see things off planet?
When they're talking, I'm visualizing everything with them.
Right.
I don't know how that works.
Right.
But I think of it like when you read a book and the words are coming out and you're seeing it. I see what they see, and sometimes I'll hesitate and ask them, "Are you sure there's nothing else there? Because I see something else there. I intuit that there's something else there," and they'll say, "Oh yeah, there's something there." So I don't know how it's happening. But yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned when you were regressed that there was an ET presence on top of the pyramid.
I was the ET.
Oh, you were the ET. Wait.
I was the priestess. I was the blue priestess. Yes.
From where?
I don't know, but my whole family was all blue. We didn't ask where I was from, but I had been placed there to help, I guess, that society, and I had been initiated as a priestess when I was 4. My skin was blue. My head was elongated. I didn't have any hair. And I taught telepathy. That was what I did. They were my people, and I taught them to do telepathy.
How tall? Okay, so you looked around and you saw others that were you. No, that's not the right. No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. but you saw. How would you know that your head was elongated? Or
you just know it. You just see it. You see it in your mind's eye. It's like you are feeling. When you go into hypnosis, it's a very strange thing. You are the observer and you are the actor also. So at times you're looking at the person and sometimes you're in the person's body.
And when you were beheaded, who was beheading you? Were they
One
like
of the reptilians.
You? Oh, see, that's where I'm going. Okay, that's what I'm trying to visualize what's going on here. This is very interesting to me. Okay, so when you reptilian, describe that. And were you guys? Was this an adversarial thing? Were you the enemy? I mean.
Well, they wanted to take over, and I guess I was a very powerful priestess, and they wanted my soul. They wanted to take my soul.
Was this here on Earth or somewhere else?
Yes, it felt like this was on Earth.
Right. So you were able to see trees or things that looked like Earth, right?
Yeah, it looked like a Mayan type of a thing.
Right. Do you have any idea what period this was, how long ago it was? Or was it in the future, for that matter?
No. It felt like it was the past. I couldn't even guess when it was. I mean, I really don't.
Okay.
But it was very interesting. And the crazy thing about it is that when I died, I was so angry at this reptilian. I wanted revenge. I was very, very angry. And then when I went into my in-between lives, I realized that the soul of this reptilian was actually my best friend, that he and I had made a contract that we would go through this together and that he wanted to have the honor of being the one who did that because we were such good friends. So.
What?
It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It makes a lot of sense. What color was his skin? Do you remember?
He was greenish.
He was
greenish, brownish, brownish combination.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Now your head was cut off, but what about when somebody goes through a past life and they might have committed suicide? How does that affect your life today?
Probably a lot of sadness. The person may feel sadness. They may feel something that they don't feel quite how they should. It's just there's different, and some of them don't feel anything. Some of them said, some of them are okay. But everybody dies a different type of death.
Right. And the person that, and you brought this up earlier, and I know that this has to occur a lot. The guilt of killing, of you could have been a really badass soldier, and you're out, lopping heads. It could be a lot of different things. Maybe you were a serial killer, or whatever. But I know that this comes up a lot. How do they react to that emotionally when they're describing this, when they've never had any idea that this was occurring in a past life?
Well, sometimes we go into another past life and it shows the opposite. So they may have chosen to be someone who really is victimized in the next one. So that's where karma takes over. Karma is an imprint of what happened. So when they come into the next life, the person maybe now is totally the opposite of what they were. So they get to try both sides.
The law of attraction. I want to talk about that. We're going to hit a break here in a few minutes. I want to talk about the law of attraction. I'm going to let everybody know now. We're going to open up the phone lines, 323-825-5045. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now and open up the phone lines, and then we'll start phone calls after the break. I'll let everybody get in line. The law of attraction.
My definition is you attract whatever is in your vibration.
And
that's my definition.
And,
however you're vibrating is what you're attracting.
And how do you use this in your technique?
I attract the right clients.
Right.
I attract the clients who are a perfect match to me.
And well, again, so how does this happen? And is this? I'm being serious too. Do they know about you in advance, or do you do this through questions? And do you end up rejecting somebody as a client because of the law of attraction?
No, I would reject them as far as how I feel about them, and these people don't have a clue if they're not ready for it.
Right.
But the people who come to me are usually, I set an intention, which is my directive to the universe. When you set an intention, it's like getting into a car and saying, okay, I'm going to go to the store. So you have to go somewhere. So my intention is I want to attract people who are on the path of spiritual awakening. I don't want to attract the bozo who wants to stop smoking. I mean, that's not my thing. So law of attraction would bring me those people who are aspects of me, who have aspects of me, who have similar situations that I've lived in my life.
Yes, and I totally get that. And does that, from the word go, as you start a session, because you guys are comfortable with each other, things are going to be okay?
Absolutely.
Right.
We have something in common. There's always something in common in my clients. Always something.
Let's take a break right here. When we come back, I'm going to open up the phone lines, 323-825-5045. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Alba Weinman, and it is Past Lives Matter. 323-825-5045. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. It's a holiday season with hope in the air. Things to look forward to and no time for despair. Health can be a challenge, and so can the mail. So Get the Tea wants to help you by giving you a sale. Buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month for free. No limit. That's buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month free. That's a savings of $35. Where? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Scroll down on the front page and find the buy 2, get 1 free ad. Click it and save. Orders over $100 get free shipping. Send the gift of life. change tea at GetTheTea.com. We have many, many non-GMO organic supplements just waiting for you. This holiday season, enjoy health and Thanksgiving with GetTheTea.com. Want to call us? 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. GetTheTea.com is a proud sponsor of doing what's right. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Alba Weinman. We're talking about regression therapy, past lives matter. Opening up the phone lines. 323-825-5045. All right. Now, Alba, one of the, and I've talked to a lot of regression therapists over the years, and one of the things that that gets discussed is healing without medication, without surgery or pain. Is this dangerous?
I don't know why it would be dangerous. You're doing it non-physically.
Okay. I mean,
so I don't
when
know
we're dealing,
why that would be dangerous.
Well, my question would be when it comes to possibly cancer or something else, okay. and you're getting into that. That's what I mean. Could it be dangerous?
Well, I had a client today who I just posted the video, and she has cancer or had cancer, and the reason why she wanted to have a session is to find out why she was going through this challenge. Okay. And this again is we were talking about the universal law of attraction. People who are coming to me are coming for the spiritual answers to these things. Okay. And she had the perfect intention. Why do I have this? And it was a beautiful, very simple session where we found out exactly what her lesson was in life, was to love and be loved unconditionally. That was her lesson in life. And she wasn't doing a good job of it. She was judging people. And you have to be unconditionally loving. And she realized that her second husband, who was a very, very nice man, she had fallen out of love with him. So she divorced him. And she held this horrible guilt because her sons loved this man, and she divorced him. And this guilt and this punishment that she did to herself, really got her sick. So the whole idea was for her to understand what made her do this to herself and how she can help it. And the body has its own healing system. I know Cryon calls it the innate, where you can actually talk to your body. You can tell your body what it needs to do to heal. It heals itself. And so the whole session was basically about her finding out what caused it. And once you know the cause of it, you can now take action by changing your beliefs and changing the way you think about stuff. So it's a beautiful, beautiful way of healing yourself. And of course, your body is not solid anyway. Those folks in the fourth dimension and above don't see you as a solid mass, your vibration. So the vibration can be changed and it could be healed energetically. So that's what's the beautiful part about using hypnosis to heal, is knowing that anything is possible because you are not a solid body.
Okay. Well, would this work with something like? Well, give me an example of it. I'm so interested in this. Like, if somebody's got a tumor or something inside of them where they actually need surgery, how does this work, and how successful is it?
It's been very successful. It's really all having to do with the person's belief system. They have to believe it and they have to have the faith, because we as practitioners are not the ones healing them. We are the ones bringing them to their own higher self, their higher guidance, and they're the ones who are really doing it. It's not us. We're not doing anything. We're just taking them to the source and saying, here it is, drink from it. And they're the ones connecting with their higher self. And, we are all gods. We are all gods. We have the power to do anything. So once you understand that, you can heal yourself. Some people have healed bones overnight, just with the power of their mind.
Has one of your clients gone through that?
I had a woman who, there's so many little tiny things, not monumental. I know Dolores has really amazing stories. These are people who come in with one thing and they leave and they say, I feel much lighter. Just the load off of them is immense, and that starts the healing process.
And
starts it right there.
And what about something like somebody that's dealing with chronic pain? Is that usually associated with something that is it an entity? Is it something that's tied to them, or is how is that alleviated, and is there success with that?
Pain again is your body giving you an indication of what's wrong. Sometimes you don't want, especially in hypnotherapy, you don't want to remove all of the pain. You don't remove pain because pain means that something is going on in your body. You can lower the pain level, and you can teach your clients, this is hypnotherapy, how to lower the levels of pain so it's tolerable, but you don't eliminate the pain if something is wrong. Okay? So if you have something torn in your knee, you're not going to remove the pain of your knee because you need to take care of it. So pain, you have to really be careful with. If you have pain, you really should check it out and see what it is. But the pain is the body telling you. It's the alarm telling you something is wrong. Interesting.
And this just came up too as well, and I meant to ask you about this earlier. When somebody is being regressed and they are, do you ever stop? Are they, if they are faking it, you know what I mean? Or if they are imagining the wrong situation, do you stop them and correct them? Can you tell if somebody is messing with you?
I don't really care. If they're going to pay me to fake something, what do I care? I mean, it's their loss.
Right.
It's their loss. If you've listened to my videos, I go along with whatever they say. I don't ever question what they say. I don't ever doubt what they say. I'm in the same state that they are, of just faith and belief. Whatever they're telling me, okay, they're telling me. If someone wants to pull the wool over my head and say, "Oh, I faked the whole thing," it's like, well, that was your loss.
Right.
Because we could have really done something really beautiful here.
Right.
You just wasted your time and mine, and you just lost an opportunity to really do something beautiful. So I don't really care if they're faking it or not. And most people think it's not real anyway. Most people, when they get out of a trance, they say, "Oh, I made it all up. I made it all up." And the reason you feel that way is because you have the left side of your brain, which is your logical side of your brain. Okay, this is the part that's always questioning everything, the critical one. It takes care of you. It's the one that keeps you out of danger. Then you have the right side of the brain, which is your creative side, your imagination side. So when you're in hypnosis, what side are you going to use? You're not going to use the logical side.
Right.
You're going to use the creative side. And that's what's familiar to you. So when you're in hypnosis, you think, oh, no, this is just my imagination.
Right. That's
so
where I'm
what side
going.
are you going to use? You're familiar with that.
And that's exactly where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah,
And
so whether you think you're making it up or not, we always tell people, hey, if you can't think of anything, make it up. Okay? Because once you tell somebody to make it up, the left side of the brain says, oh, okay, we're just making believe. I'll just sleep here and take a nap. And they kind of let go. And then the beauty starts. Then the magic starts, because then, things start to happen because the guard has fallen asleep.
That's exactly right. And they think, they pop out of it and they're like, yeah, this didn't work. I was just faking it.
Exactly. And you make up your entire life anyway. Our whole life is imagination.
Right.
So we're in hypnosis all of our life anyway.
And we haven't done this yet. Let's talk about future lives. That is a bit trippy to me. And one of the things for me that I know that there is something going on, it's very simple. It's called deja vu. Deja vu happens, and I know because that's the future, and you're watching the future play out in real time right in front of you. Mm-hmm. So there is something going on, whether it's interdimensionals, it's time travel, it's a peek into the future. I don't know what it is, but that is proof to me that the future is there. It's not that it hasn't happened yet, because it has, because you're going through a deja vu or an experience like that. So with a future, not a past life, but a future life, what are we dealing with there?
A probability. It doesn't have to be real, because every moment of your life you're making choices, and those choices take you down a different path. So if I take you into the future, that's a future probability, but it doesn't mean that that's the future that you will be going into, because every time you make a choice, you may be going into a different probability. We're living so many different timelines at the same time, and we skip from one to another. It's crazy. So we don't know what the real future one is, because it depends on which path you take.
So you're suggesting that we can alter that path?
We have so many different timelines, yeah, of course. When you make a decision, hell no, I'm not doing that, it just takes you down a different path.
Does it suggest precog abilities with somebody that can regress into the future? I guess that would be progression.
I've had people go into the future, and it helps answer a question of how maybe something could be. And we do that in hypnotherapy. We actually have somebody go into a future life and say, okay, if you're going down this path, I want you to see yourself 5 years from now. Okay, now see yourself in 10 years, see yourself in 25 years. What does that person look like? What kind of life are you living? And the person's like, oh, not too good, Okay, now if you were to make these changes, go down 5 years, what does it look like? 10 years, what does it look like? Oh, that looks really good.
Right.
Okay, so you can make a choice now which way you're going to go into the future. So we make the suggestions that, change that path.
And now staying on the same line of questions here. If somebody has died and they've gone to the other side, and that is what they are talking about, do they ever go to the reincarnation or the next life that is in front of them from the present timeline?
You lost me there.
Well, okay. When I'm talking about a future life, right?
Yes.
future life. Okay, and somebody is being, I keep saying regressed. That is under hypnosis. That's where I want to go. And then their next life is in front of them, but it's still like in this timeline. It isn't left or right. It is actually their life in this timeline. Are they able to then see who they will be in the future?
I can't answer that one because I haven't had that experience.
Okay.
We never take anybody to their death in this lifetime. We only take the past life into their death. And when you take someone who is alive now into the future, that's just a probability.
Right. Right. I get it. Do you ever access the Akashic records?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
those are fun. People will get imprints from there. I had really a great past life regression of another hypnotherapist who all of his lives were imprints, and that was really cool. If you're a new soul that has not lived too many lifetimes here on Earth, you may go to the Akashic records and get imprints of people's lives. And this is where you find the Napoleons and the Cleopatras.
Right.
Because these are new souls who have never lived here before, and they want to have leadership skills because they're coming for a special mission. So they'll go to the records of someone who maybe is famous, who's well known for that skill, and they'll take an imprint. It's like taking a copy. So they will bring with them the experiences of that person's life. And sometimes in past life regressions, we will find those imprints.
How easy is it for you? When was the first time you experienced the Akashic records?
Oh, probably that one, because that one sticks in my mind that it was so interesting.
And did you know, I just love this subject. Did you know beforehand what was going on?
Beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, did you know? Did you have experience with the Akashic records? Or
no, not really.
That's what I'm saying. So
no, I'm learning all of this as I go along. This to me is the fun part. Is I try not to read too many other people's stuff sometimes because I don't want to, I guess, taint it or. I try to be as unbiased as possible when I'm taking them through this, and I'm learning with them.
Right. And
I'm learning exactly what the people are seeing in the video is me, with my mouth open too, like this is wild.
Well, totally. And now that you know, more about the Akashic records, now are you able to go there if you need to during a session?
I did that this last weekend where I had a person come here who was not very, I guess experienced would be the word, very experienced on the earth plane. She had been actually plant life before.
Right.
And she basically just hadn't been experienced as a human very much. And so one of my requests, not to go there, but one of the suggestions was to go there during her sleep time to start finding imprints of those that could help her in this lifetime so that she could get more experience during her sleep, get more downloads, and so that she would be more experienced as a human being. So you can actually request that as a directive before they come out of trance.
Now that happened this week. Have you been in contact with her since?
No, I haven't. I've been super busy, so I haven't contacted her.
How do you follow up with a client after a session?
I don't follow up too much. Sometimes I'll just send an email because I kind of go with the school of Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon didn't follow up, and the reason is that because we don't feel like we're doing anything. This is between you and God to take care of. When someone comes to you, we're the facilitator, we do our job, and really it's between you and your higher self. It's for you now. You've been empowered with this information. It's for you to take care of it now. So by me following up, it's like I'm doubting myself. I'm doubting the Creator. I'm doubting, the powers that be to do their job.
How has it changed you spiritually? Because you had said that you were a little combative when you were with your family. How has it changed you today?
Oh my God. I'm open to so much now. Your society teaches you to think a certain way. We've been brainwashed since we were born to think a certain way, linear and three-dimensional, and this is how life has to be. There is no such thing as this other stuff. And with these sessions, I hear so many different things that I cannot possibly even question the fact that everything exists. Anything and everything exists. Two-dimensional, cartoon-like drawn worlds exist. It's so bizarre when you see regressions over and over again with things that you question, like the two-dimensional worlds, where you go, how can that possibly be? They look like cartoons, and I've had them many times. So you think everything is possible. Everything is possible. So why even question? Just go along with it and expand your mind. And as you expand your mind, I've become a lot more open with people, more loving to people, more service to people, because I understand that we're all in this together. We're all learning. We're all one. We're all one. We really are. And this world is just magnificent. You just have to allow yourself to see the beauty of it. And it's amazing. It's amazing. What you can do.
Yeah, through your own personal sessions where you've been regressed, and also with your clients, one question that constantly comes up is the visitation of ET on this planet and its influence on us, possibly teaching, possibly doing things. How long has this been going on? What have you found out?
Oh, this has been going on forever. Dolores wrote entire books on that, The Keepers of the Garden, and we are being looked after constantly. We're loved so much. It's just amazing how loved we are and how much they try to help us. And we're just not listening.
That is the issue. That is the issue, isn't it?
Which is why I'm so happy that people are watching my videos and learning things, because I think it's helping them understand how much love there is out there.
Do you feel that, certainly we just went through a crazy election cycle. We've got issues in the Middle East right now. We've got terrorist activity in the United States and mass killings in Paris. And there was three different bombings over the weekend. It was just like crazy news. Do you think that we're being effective with this darkness, that this prevalence of this shadow over Earth today? It just seems like
they're trying so hard,
aren't they?
They're trying so hard, and the thing is that all of our emotions are what feed them. Without our anger and rage and fear and suffering, they have no food. So they are constantly doing things to make us angry and enraged and scared, because that's the perfect food for them. That's their energy source. So by detaching yourself from this craziness that they're showing, imagine how many people there are in the world and how much is going on in the world. And we are just being shown a tiny, tiny little sliver of it. And all they're doing is making us fear and think about these things that are happening that are negative. There's so much beauty in the world. There's so many beautiful people and wonderful people and loving people all over the world. And all we're fed is the nastiness.
Yeah,
that's all we're fed. And if they were to actually broadcast the wonderful stuff that's going around the world, the world would be totally different. But all they're doing is showing us the nasty stuff.
Yeah, we need a 24-hour good news channel.
Right.
You know, I've talked about that so many times.
I talk to so many beautiful souls. These people who come to me are such beautiful souls who there's just so many nice people in the world. There really are. Wonderful, beautiful souls who speak every language, who are really in touch with things. And yet all we see on TV and in the media and the movies is just the violence. And that's not how the world really is. And, you know, if we can just shift to looking at the positive things about people, loving people, being of service to people, being kind to people, the world would be so totally different.
Do you ever?
You got to change the spotlight.
That's right. And before we end, I want to thank you for this amazing conversation tonight. I want to thank you in advance for that. Do you ever make it out to the LA area to do sessions, or do you only stay on the East Coast?
No, I travel. I'll be going to LA again this spring. I was there this year already. There's a lot of folks out in LA looking for sessions. So I do travel. On my website, people can see where I'm traveling to next. And there's a mailing list where they sign up and they find out where I'm going to next. And I try to travel now at least twice a month somewhere.
Right.
So that people who can't come to Miami, I can go to them.
Everything is there on albaweinman.com, and your schedule up, and anybody that needs to get a hold of you, contact information is there.
That's the best way, is through my website.
Thank you so much, Alba. What a fascinating conversation tonight. And when you make it out here to the West Coast, let us know, and we'll get you back on the air, and we'll announce it for you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. Alba Weinman, everybody. albaweinman.com. And there you go. Got a couple of questions if she does ever make it out to the West Coast. Just go to albaweinman.com. Her schedule is there. Thank you so much, Alba. Fascinating conversation tonight. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. When I come back, I've got all the news that you know nothing about and phone lines. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my... It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code TSL.
Would odors, mold, and mildew describe your basement or crawl space? It doesn't have to be that way. Transform them into a fresh, healthy, usable one with the technologically advanced Wave Moisture Control Units. The computerized operation maximizes moisture control and also expels harmful radon, combustion gases, and numerous other pollutants. Dehumidifiers are old technology that do nothing for air quality and waste energy. Wave units are intelligent, self-monitoring, do not need maintenance, and will save you hundreds in electricity. Wave units are still running effectively effectively over 15 years. They've been tested and installed in public and military housing and by property managers nationwide. Buy a unit now, and if your home is not fresher and drier, you can return it for a full refund for up to 12 months. What have you got to lose? Call now. 1-888-618-WAVE. 1-888-618-WAVE. Or visit mydryhome.com. That's mydryhome.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to jimmychurchradio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRAradio.com.
This is KJCR at jimmychurchradio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thank you, Alba. Great conversation. Opening up the phone lines, 323-825-5045. Opinions, questions. Anybody else out there, have you done a past life regression? And what did it do for you? I'd like to hear from you. 323-825-5045. And very interesting. And one of the things that she shared with us was her experience of being beheaded, and that it seemed Mayan to her. She was on top of a pyramid. Blue was interesting to me. I believe, didn't the Mayans, before they were going to sacrifice you, didn't they paint you blue? Right? I thought that was really, really interesting. But she thought that she was blue, and that was also interesting. And the tie-in between the two, I find fascinating, because maybe that's the blue-skinned connection why they painted. I don't know. I find that fascinating. Very, very interesting experience for her to share with us. Anyway, 323-825-5045. Past lives matter. I do. I want to get a t-shirt. We should get those going. Past lives matter. Get those up on the website. And if I see somebody wearing one, I'm going to know where you got the idea. But I think we should do that. I think we should do Past Lives Matter t-shirts. 323-825-5045. Okay. The news broke today. The United States Space Agency and a team of scientists, including Stephen Hawking, are developing a nano starship made from a single silicon chip that can travel 1/5 the speed of light. In theory, the miniature spacecraft could arrive at Earth's closest star system, Alpha Centauri, in 20 years, 100 times faster than a conventional spacecraft can achieve. Hawking announced the groundbreaking project back in April, which aims to slash interstellar space exploration by using lasers to propel a nano spacecraft the size of a postage stamp, called the star chip. Now, however, and there's always a however, a 1 centimeter sized chip in space faces major obstacles, in particular, radiation, right? And this is according to NASA and the Korea Institute Science of Technology. They say the long-term exposure to the high-energy radiation in space would accumulate a series of defects in the chip's silicon dioxide layer and will degrade the device's performance. Now, doesn't this... if you are... Okay. What are we picturing here? Because their description of this, and I read through it, is a flat, right, postage stamp size starship that's going to fly through space, and they're going to propel it. I get that, right? Without any protection. It's got to go through the Van Allen radiation belt, first off, just to get out and away from us. And without any protection around it, what are they expecting? And on the other side of the fence, 4.5 light years away, Alpha Centauri, Proxima B, being out there, who's going to find it? Or what are we going to do with it once it gets there? How are we going to keep communication in place? How do we even know that it's out there? Doesn't make any sense to me. The idea is amazing, right? I get it. I can picture it. But after you get past that, the fantasy side of it, there's a lot of questions to be answered. And how's it going to be powered? What kind of battery life are we dealing with here? There isn't going to be any solar-powered anything once it's outside of our solar system, right? Right? I don't know. I just don't know. The new presidential limousine was ordered, and the pictures of it are over at Jimmy Church Radio on our Facebook page. Go and check it out. Now, the new limousine was ordered 3 years ago. It's expected to be ready for the inauguration in January. It's going to roll down Pennsylvania Avenue on the 20th, and it's going to have the front end of a Cadillac Escalade. General Motors is building the heavily armored vehicle, and it looks like a limousine, but it's actually on a heavy-duty truck frame. Obviously, it's bomb-proof, bulletproof, all of that stuff. But this is the thing. Sit down and listen to me. Public records show that the federal government has paid General Motors $15.8 million for the limousine. That's right. You heard me. $15.8 million. That's 15 new Bugattis. That's 15 new of the most expensive Ferraris. $15.8 million for the new presidential sled. There's something funny going on there. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hi, can you hear me, Jimmy?
Yeah, I got you. Who's calling?
It's Catalina.
Oh, hey, Kat. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got a past life story for you.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
Many years ago, before a lot of the paranormal talk came out, I went to a metaphysical bookstore late at night on a full moon, and the person that I think she owned the place, she was a psychic, and she offered a past life regression.
Oh, wait. Okay. Stop right there really quick. Was it in Southern California?
Southern California.
Was it in the Valley?
No.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if I knew the bookstore. Okay, so then I probably don't know it.
No, it's out in the desert.
Okay. Oh, it's out in the desert. Even better. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So picture this. It was at night during a full moon, and people signed up. So a group came there. They told us to bring a blanket and a pillow, and we all went in there. turned all the lights off, and we all laid down on the floor with a blanket and a pillow in a circle. And then she semi-hypnotized us. Her thing was she wanted to find people that were living in Atlanta, past life. So that was her thing. So I don't know how long it lasted, but I remember being very relaxed, and it's hard to say how long we were out for. I'm going to guess at least a half hour. And then she brought us all back, and then we went around the room for anybody that wanted to share, and everybody wanted to. What was interesting, some people, I think, said they remembered Atlanta's past lives, but I thought was really interesting looking now, because so many people in the paranormal talking about ETs, past lives and all this. Many people saw themselves on different planets and different ETs, which now looking back, I think, wow, that was really ahead of the time. For me personally, I saw myself die. I've seen this before in a ship out at sea in this, green water. I've seen that before. I think I worked on tall ships a long time ago.
Okay.
So I saw that, and then I didn't see Atlantis. I saw, I was living in Greece a long time ago when there were the togas, and you sit around and philosophize, because, I love to philosophize. So,
right.
Anyways, that was my experience.
What was the ship like? I mean, so when you say Greece, I'm thinking Mediterranean. I'm thinking one of those Greek ships. I mean, it was one of the old ones, right, with like a single sail and a bunch of oars and something like that?
No, this was two different lives. The one life that I saw myself dying at sea, I think I was on more of the old-time sailing schooner ships.
Like a pirate ship, right.
Because I spent a lot of time out at sea when I was younger. So I've seen that even when I was on the ships or boats. I remember dying in green water. I'm not afraid of the ocean or anything. It's interesting, but I did see myself dying in green, deep sea water.
What do you mean dying? What happened?
Well, probably probably was attacked. I think back when men used to, there was probably a guy, worked on those ships. I don't think people lived long times. I think young guys started as teenagers, and they probably, if they were going to war, so maybe they didn't live that long. Maybe they only lived till they're 25 or something like that. So you could have had many different lives. And sometimes I think when you've done one trade, the next life you tend to go back into that trade because it comes natural to you. You're just drawn to it.
Sure,
so,
sure.
I may have had many lives out at sea.
Right.
So that's not strange to have been at battle and then the ship sunk, That's what I probably did.
Oh man, that's really cool. I mean that's not the death part, but but the experience.
Well, I'm not afraid of this ocean, which is cool, because I know some people are definitely afraid of water, and that's probably something that happened and they died, in the water or out at sea or something like that.
Yeah, I never thought about that. I love going on boats, right? Some people are freaked out about it. I'm totally cool with it. I'm not just like, let's go,
Yeah, they used to. One time I got to fulfill one of my big dreams is, I don't know if they still have it. They had a big, tall ship out at Long Beach, and they take you out to Catalina Island.
I remember that.
Going out there once.
Right.
That was amazing. They powered going. It was a 150-foot sailboat.
Right.
And they powered out there, let us spend time there. And then when they came back, they didn't bring up all the sails, but they brought out, I think at least two big ones. And all those boats, they really lean. I didn't know they lean so much,
yes.
on the side.
Yes.
It's scary, but it was exciting, and it was the sunset. But anyways, I felt like I had fulfilled a past life need to connect to that past life.
And now let's the Greek experience. I understand the toga part, so you're able to identify with that right there. But what was that boat like? Was it a merchant boat, or was it like more of a from the Navy for war?
No, I don't think I explained it right. I wasn't on a boat. I was on the land.
Oh,
and she kept saying, "Look at your feet." I don't know why, but she always kept. I remember when she'd say, "Look at your feet. What do you see?"
Right.
It's something to do with whatever you're wearing on your feet. I guess has a big bearing on the time frame of where you're living.
Now,
so I remember seeing the weird sandals, back then.
And so this regression was an accident, right? You went there for something else, and you happened to stumble into the regression therapy, right? Would you do it again?
Well, I mean, we paid to go to it. It was a thing we signed up to go to.
Right.
It's just that she was looking for Atlantis, but not very many people saw Atlantis. A lot of people, like I said, some people saw themselves on other planets. It's just what you saw, whatever came up. It's like it's a tapping into the Akashic records, which is what our guest was talking about.
And how many people were there doing this with you?
Probably, I want to say 15, 20 people.
And
it was really ahead of its time because, I mean, back then a lot of people didn't really talk too much about all that kind of stuff.
Right, right. And how did you feel when you guys started to talk about it, in your therapy end of it, right? Afterwards?
I loved it. I loved that everybody was so open and honest because, here on these shows we're getting used to being open and honest, but back then you didn't talk about that kind of stuff outside of, the realm where it was safe. So I loved it. I thought that it was great that people were, especially people talking about being on other planets. Nobody gave dirty looks or weird looks or anything. They just kind of went, oh, okay.
Do you remember anybody's experience on another planet? Do you remember anything that they said?
I think they remembered, like, the name specifically. I mean, it's a long time ago. And, that they were there. I remember they gave names specifically, but, I mean, it's so long ago, I can't remember that. On my brief one, I was on the land, and I just remember sitting out on steps visually where people would sit and philosophize,
right.
Because I love to do that. When I went to college, the first class I took was philosophy. I love that. So that probably was tapped into a past life where you sat around on steps like the Socrates or something, and you discuss matters like we do on Fade to Black.
Man, I'm jealous. I wish I would have been there. Well,
hopefully somebody will offer something like that again, because the group classes are better because you learn a lot more from everybody.
Yeah. And you keep saying this was so long ago. When was it? What year?
In the 80s.
You're not that old. Okay. What?
The good old 80s.
Yeah. What part? Early 80s?
Mid 80s, I think.
Yeah. That would have been a strange time for something like this to happen. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of when the New Age thing started to really hit. Everybody started to be more open. I was really into getting theosophical books.
Right.
The Theosophical Society. So it was when everybody was opening up and wanting to learn new things like this.
Right. Wow.
But not too much of UFOs and stuff like that. I didn't hear too much of that stuff back then. It was later when that stuff came out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right, though. The off-planet stuff would have been fascinating, and I wish I would have been there. Did you get a tape of it? Did they record it?
Oh, gosh, I doubt that. No, back then everything was pretty organic.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Catalina, thank you for sharing that with us.
You're
That's
welcome.
absolutely fascinating. Would you do regression therapy yourself? Would you do it today?
Yeah, I'd like to do one, someday again, someone that I really trusted. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Trust, because I'm just going to blab something that I don't need to blab about. Right.
Yeah, I think it depends on what specifically you want to go find out about. And willy-nilly, I don't think is for me. It's something it would have to be specifically that you're trying to figure out or want to learn or something like that.
Right. I mean, you don't want to wake up. Man, I forgot what I said. What was I talking about? We were talking about your favorite pink pony that you used to sleep with when you were 5. I don't need that stuff getting out, into the public. But yeah, I hear you. I I find it interesting, and I think at some point I'll be comfortable with somebody enough to go and do it and see what's going on.
Yeah, maybe just for a short session, like do it a 15-minute thing. It's just to slowly kind of see if you felt comfortable doing it.
Well,
short increments.
Yeah, and I think the other key here, because is not to fight it, because some people just can't be hypnotized, or they're so negative about it that it's never going to happen. And I think that I may fall into that category. Not that I'm negative about it, but I don't know if I could be hypnotized. I just don't know.
Well, if there's something that nags you all the time, it's already there in your subconscious consciously. All the time. So that would be something you'd want to target because it's already there, so you wouldn't need to be really hypnotized that much. It would just be there anyway.
Right. I hear you. Yeah. At some point, I'll do it. It just won't be live on the air. Everybody wants me to do it live. Why would they want me to do something that live on the air?
Oh, that's scary.
And then, anybody that wants me to do it live on the air, how about you do it live on the air? Why don't you come?
Right.
Yeah, why don't you
do
come?
Do your laundry at your own home.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you come into the bunker? We'll roll a cot in here. And we'll videotape and do a live broadcast of you. Yeah, right? Okay, it's the same thing. It ain't going to happen. Nobody,
no, I don't think so.
No, nobody would ever do it. Thank you, Catalina. Be safe
You're
out
welcome.
there. Great
All right,
phone call.
you.
Thank you. Great phone call. Man, just stumbled into, there's, I don't want to say the name of the place, but there's a very famous large psychic bookstore here in the Valley. And they used to have a couple of locations. And there's stuff going on in the back, man. They have everything that you want to pay for. You can go in the back and check it out. And I've never done it, but I've hung out enough at this bookstore and check things out. And I just watch people going in and out of the back, in and out of the back, in and out of the back. And whatever's your little desire, right? It's going on in the back of that store. And I was just wondering if that's the bookstore she was talking about. And it's a big place, too, as well. And, yes, it is still there. All right, Catalina, thank you for the phone call. NASA was expected to launch 8 little satellites into space today aboard the Pegasus XL rocket. But it was forced to abort the launch. And this is the thing. That rocket from Cape Canaveral, from the Air Force Station in Florida, was canceled because of a faulty hydraulic pump. Now, the launch of the small satellites, of which there were 8, would make up the Cyclone Global Navigation Satellite System, and is part of the agency's increased focus on small satellites and would improve hurricane intensity forecasts. But check this out. It was stopped 25 minutes before the initial 8:30 a.m. launch this morning, and it was because of the hydraulic system. Thank you, Mark, for posting the picture, because it was launching from an L-1011 Stargazer aircraft. The rocket is carried up on the airplane. It's an airliner, jetliner. And then the Pegasus is dropped off the bottom of it, kind of like the X-15 was back in the day. It wasn't launched from a launch pad. I didn't know that. Did you know that NASA was launching the Pegasus this way? I always thought the Pegasus took off like a normal rocket. Totally crazy picture, and we posted it today. Now, are you ready? The Area 51 land grab is starting to come to a head. Joe Sheehan is in the fight for his life to save his family's Nevada mine from being swallowed up by Area 51. Technically, Sheehan's family no longer even holds the title to Groom Mine, which they've owned for 130 years. The federal government took the deed through eminent domain after first offering the Sheehans $333,300. That's it, $300,000 for their family mine that they've had for 130 years. Now the family is fighting back in federal court. But if they don't agree on a value, this is going to go to jury. Now, apparently, they've got 3 different outside estimates right now for this, putting the value of the land at around, are you sitting down, $40 million. And look, the government's going to take what they're going to take. And you know that there's value to this land, and there's a mine on it. But they just want to just give $300,000, take the land, and the whole thing stinks. What's interesting here is that the old mine hasn't been active for decades. And I do understand it's in rural Nevada. But right now, you just can't go in and grab and just give what you say that is the value for it. So far, the family has not been paid a penny. Initially, the family was sued by the feds in September 2015 in a complaint case of eminent domain. A few days later, the government then filed a motion to take over the property. Now, appraisal reports are being exchanged in the discovery phase of the litigation. If the parties cannot reach a sufficient value for the land, that's it. It's going to a jury trial. And I'm telling you, I would like to see it go to a jury. If the government doesn't step up, with 10, 20, 30, 40 million dollars, send it to a jury trial. Jury's going to see on the side of the Sheehan family. Now, one of the craziest news stories, and we do this every single night here on Fade to Black. The late Stan Wood, a self-taught paleontologist from Scotland, had an unwavering belief that the earliest animals to walk on land did so in Scotland. Well, in 2011, just a year before he died of cancer, Wood discovered fossils of 4-legged animals known as tetrapods on an unassuming place called Willie's Hole, located near Chirnside, Scotland. The remains dated between 360 and 345 million years ago, which most scientists believe everybody started walking, made that transition from water, from sea to land. Now it's official. A National Museum Scotland organized excavation team returned to Willie's Hole in 2015 and unearthed evidence supporting Wood's long-held belief. They found the remains of 5 new fossil species, which date back to 355 million years ago and are now thought to be the earliest known 4-legged vertebrates to walk on terra firma. And you heard that first right here on Fade to Black. I want to thank Alba Weinman for coming in tonight. Did I just say Weinstein? Alba Weinman for coming in tonight. Her websites are over at Fade to Black, over at jimmychurchradio.com. She's got one in Spanish, 2 as well. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show's produced by Hilton J. Palmer, R.T. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Fady Bidell. Webmaster is Drew, the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Tomorrow night, right here, Ralph Ellis. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.